Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the next episode of the BRIO in the Box podcast.
Yeah, I'm already having a great time.
Well, me too. A little bit of a rough start here. Take 47.
Take 47. What are we talking about today?
What are we going to talk about
I
today?
don't even know what's going on.
Okay, so I lately have been re-obsessed with this show called Secret Eaters.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen it. There are many full episodes available on YouTube. It's a British show. And the Brits, man, they really don't pull any punches.
Yep.
They're not sugarcoating anything. So the premise of this show is these are real people in England that struggle with their weight, struggle with obesity. And they just go, I can't figure out how to lose weight. So they apply to be on the show. And the Secret Eaters team comes and puts cameras in their kitchen and in their living room and in their house and stuff. But then what the participants are not aware of, especially in the first season, is that they're also being followed by a team of private investigators. And they're recruiting their coworkers and their friends to like narc on them about what's happening. So the whole idea is that they try to track every single thing that these people eat for a week or 5 days, I think. And so they do this interview with these people at the start. And every single one of them is like, I just can't figure this out. And like dead ass serious, a number of the participants who weigh sometimes double what an adult male or female should weigh for their height are like, I think my problem is I don't eat enough. And they're like legit serious. And these people are aware that they're about to be filmed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, every single time they film them for a week and like the PIs will follow them into a fast food restaurant and go, can I have the same thing that guy just ordered? And they'll literally bring the food out. And so then they do this big shock and awe reveal at the end where they have like tables of everything laid out that they've eaten over the week.
Yeah.
And of course, people are shocked at the amount of food that they've eaten in the course of the week.
Yeah. I haven't seen many of these shows, but the ones I've seen, they'll have video of them sitting on the couch eating a bag of chips or whatever. And the person will be watching that. I don't remember doing that at all. They're just like, they've completely just blanked it out, you know?
It's really interesting to me from a psychology perspective in that there's obviously a level of self-delusion. Like these people are living in Delulu land, but not in a direct, I'm aware that I'm doing this and I'm going to lie about it. It's that it's like some of the eating or the snacking is happening on a level that is not making it into their conscious choices or decisions. A lot of it is happening mindlessly eating in front of the TV. That's a big one. And then there are other places where people just didn't realize how high calorie some of the foods are that they're eating. So they also, in the 5 days before they're filmed, have them keep a food journal.
Oh yeah.
And they're supposed to write down everything that they're eating. And they always hand in these food journals that are like 1,300 calories and just like ridiculously underreporting.
Right. Yeah. I think it's a funny thing because if you're going to like try to make a change in your life and the first step is to make a list of the stuff that you're eating, the worst thing you can do is cheat that part, you know, because it just throws the whole thing off. You know, if you're going to work with a nutritionist or whatever, and they're like, okay, we're gonna food log to see where we're at for the next 3 days, and then you just lie or you change the way you're eating. It's now we've just wasted a whole bunch of time and money.
But that's kind of what I find interesting about this show is like the person that's most bought it. I don't even like that they're calling it lies because it's like a level of self-deception. They seem to be completely unaware that they're doing a lot of these behaviors, and to the point that they're confidently will look in the camera and go, I think my problem is I don't eat enough. And they're well aware that they're about to be filmed.
Yeah.
You know, they're about to have surveillance done on them for weeks at a time. So they seem to be quite confident in the accuracy of what they're reporting. What's missing is this level of self-awareness,
right?
I think. So lots of like mindless snacking, lots of late night eating, lots of grazing and picking. One woman who reports fasting for long periods of time eats, in the course of her cooking a meal for her family, almost 800 calories of licks of spoons and tastes of dinner and bites of things. And she swore that she didn't eat anything that day. So little things that add up where you think, oh, it's just one little taste or one little lick of a spoon or one little bite of a thing. And
that's a big one, I think, for a lot of people is they're grazing while they're cooking or waiting for dinner or whatever. And they'll just be grabbing stuff and digging around. I remember like talking with one guy years and years ago, and that's what he said is his wife would be making dinner and he would just be rummaging through the cabinets trying to find something to tide him over.
Yeah. Alcohol is a huge one for people too.
Yeah.
It's England and they're known to be heavy drinkers. So many of them, they witness them having a night out at the bar and the number of drinks that go down, especially once the first few have gone down, and then you kind of lose track of how many it was, and beer and wine and like sugary cocktails and stuff, there's a tremendous number of calories that people aren't accounting for.
And even if you're trying to make better choices with your alcohol, which doesn't happen a lot for most people, but even if you're trying to do what they call neutrals and low calorie beers and stuff, there's still 100 each. And if you have 6 or 8 of those in a night, that's a whole meal right there that you're not even thinking about.
Yeah. And it affects your metabolism too.
It does.
Alcohol is the most toxic. It kind of takes the front of the line. All ethanol has to get burned before anything else. Your body clears it out first. So it parks all carbohydrate and fat metabolism, which drinking almost always is accompanied by less than ideal food choices. You know, you hit the fast food on the way home, or you hit the Denny's in the next morning, or, you know.
I was going to say, also you're like, if you're intoxicated, you're way harder time making good choices. You're generally like, fuck it.
Yeah, definitely gets to an fuck it level of things.
Yeah.
Another pitfall for people is thinking they're making healthy choices with certain foods and not realizing that they're just really high carbohydrate, really high sugar, or just really high in calories, period. Like the healthy nut mix or the dried coconut chips or the things that are organic or stuff like that, that when they actually, I just have never looked at the package, the calories or the ingredients
like
on it.
Trail mix. I think we've talked about trail mix before. That's one of those ones that it's sort of looked upon as a healthy mix of food, but like trail mix was designed for people that are like climbing mountains and need high caloric foods that are low volume and easy to carry.
Maximum energy density in the smallest possible thing.
So you mix, nuts and raisins and all these things together, and a handful of it is 400 calories or whatever. And then you throw M&Ms in there as well, and it's like even crazier.
Now you're just eating candy.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend this show. It's a really interesting, like, psychological experiment to partake in, but inspired by bringing more awareness to what you eat. I was like, every so often I go through these phases where I'm like, I'm going to track every single thing that I eat. And I get out the kitchen scale and I weigh and measure everything. So I did this for, I don't know, about 3 weeks just to see how accurate am I being at what I think, how well I think I'm eating and what I'm actually eating. And the only way that works is if you're being hyper honest with yourself. Every lick of the peanut butter, every drink, every, night out at a restaurant, you can't be like, oh, that's fine. It's one meal. I'll skip tracking that one meal. So in the course of this experiment, we went out to Earls.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm going to look up on the nutrition facts. You can just type it in and find it on their website. And we got looking at this PDF and some of the things we were like, holy shit.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I remember the episode of The Simpsons where they cooked some sort of pastry and they were just like compressing butter into to the point where the whole thing was like rumbling. And I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing at some of the restauranting recipes.
So we looked it up and we're going to go over a sample, maybe what you ordered, and then maybe if I think I'm making better choices and stuff, and just talk about the actual reality of what it is. So what would be, this is your hypothetical order.
Yeah, and this is stuff that I enjoy at Earls, and I've eaten before. I've had this exact meal before. I really like their dynamite rolls, the little sushi rolls. Almost every time I go there, I start with that. It's my appetizer. And then, we generally try to find the protein and go with that. So I'm a big fan of ribs, and Earls has some pretty good ribs, so I'll often have a full rack of ribs. And then I'm a big pie guy. So at the end of the meal, if I'm going to treat myself, maybe I do like the key lime pie.
Okay, so now let's take a moment to imagine. We had a sushi roll, had some ribs, and had a dessert, key lime pie. Standard night out at a restaurant. Take a moment to consider how many calories do you think that would add up to? Considering an adult male needs, I don't know, 2,500, maybe 3,000 calories a day to stay alive. What would have been your first guess for a meal?
I knew it was big because I know that's 3 things, right? So initially I was thinking like the appetizer would probably be somewhere in the 400 to 500 range. I was thinking the ribs would be somewhere in the like 1,000 to 1,200 range. And then I was thinking the dessert, it's sugary. That was probably going to be about another 500 to 600 as well. So I was thinking probably somewhere around 2,200 calories.
Actual caloric value of the sushi roll, the ribs, and the key lime pie, 4,530. Nearly 2 days worth of calories.
Yeah, it's amazing.
In this one meal.
Yeah.
And we haven't even included any alcohol.
Yeah.
This is not any beers to start or glasses of wine or margaritas. Earls has great margaritas.
Yeah.
So we haven't even touched any of that.
Like a pint of beer is about 250 to 300 calories. And I'll have a couple of those with dinner. So that's another
now we're
600.
over 5,000 calories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In one meal.
In one meal.
And I can eat that whole thing in one sitting.
For sure. I've probably seen you do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's break it down. The dynamite roll, 730 calories.
Yeah.
91 grams of carbs and 12 grams of protein. Not a lot on the protein. Generally, we're always trying to maximize protein, minimize, carbohydrates, especially just because of what it does to your blood sugar. The ribs.
This was crazy. This is the big one.
2,730 calories.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
47 grams of carbs, and that's almost all sugar.
And that's what you would think. It's just mostly protein and fat, but they coat it with so much barbecue sauce, and there is just a ton of sugar in that sauce.
Way more than you would expect for just ordering a very meaty dish. And 194 grams of protein because it's an entire rack of ribs. So.
That's an absurd amount of protein.
It's more than you need at once. Yeah.
I try to eat like 180-ish grams a day. So
that's like
it's an absurd amount of
protein. Key lime pie, 1,070 calories, 117 grams of carbs, 117 grams, and then 17 grams of protein. This probably has some eggs in it or something.
Yeah.
For total 4,530 calories, 255 grams of carbohydrate. It's like more than you need in a week. And 223 grams of protein. So hefty on the protein.
Yeah. You found your protein.
But high on the energy density calories.
When you first look at those things, you're like, well, like that key lime pie is not even that big. So it's, how bad can it be, right? But then they just fit so much sugar and everything into those things. It's just absurd. And I can eat all of that in one meal.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'd be super full and probably feel kind of gross afterwards, but you can do it.
Yeah. And you can throw a couple drinks in there. We're over 5,000 calories. You can pretty much throw away a week worth of good, healthy eating, sticking to your diet plan with one meal, not even a whole day. This isn't even a whole cheat day. This was just going to treat myself a little one meal.
And even if I was to fast all day in preparation for this meal, it's still
you would also have to fast the entire next day.
2 days worth of food for me. So it was incredible. That was the ribs were quite oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say I'm going to make what seems like better choices.
Yeah.
For my appetizer, I'm going to have the lettuce wraps, the angry chicken lettuce wraps. I'm not going to have your big ass rack of ribs. I'm going to have a salad. I'm going to have the Santa Fe chicken salad. And then I am going to treat myself and have dessert. I'm going to have the gingerbread cake. It seems like it would be less sweet than the other things.
Yeah.
So I had lettuce wraps, I had a salad, and I did have dessert.
And did you have initial thoughts on what, because you're pretty knowledgeable with this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to ask me specifically. I probably would have pegged that. I mean, I think I know some of the pitfalls of the salads in restaurants and stuff. So, but I might have put it about 2,500 for the whole thing.
Yeah. And that's pretty close.
Yeah. Give me the total first.
Okay. So total all in calories, 3,050. So pretty close to where you are.
So 3,000 calories.
Yeah. And
female, I need maybe 2,000 to 2,500 for the day. And also doesn't include any alcohol yet.
Yeah. So add a few drinks in there, you're up to 35 plus for sure. So total calories, 3,050. Total carbs, 341.
Which is actually more than your meal was.
Which is more than mine. And and then for protein, 96. So
still
a lot, but not nearly as much as my gigantic rack of ribs.
So 341 grams of carbohydrate. I like to eat maybe 50 to 80 a day.
Yeah. So
that's basically a week's worth of carbohydrate in one meal.
I'll go 50 to 100 a day usually.
Yeah.
So it's ample for sure. So let's break down each one. Angry chicken lettuce wraps, calories, 830 just for an appetizer. And this is a small appetizer. It's just a little bowl, like a small bowl of stuff with lettuce that you wrap it up. It's not a big filling thing at all. But again, they have this magic ability to just cram it full of stuff. So carbohydrates, 91 grams.
Because I believe it has noodles with it, right? It's like a chicken stir fry thing that you put in the...
And their sauce is very sweet.
Yeah.
Lots of sugar in there. And then protein, 37 grams. Santa Fe chicken salad, 1,000 calories. So 1,000 calorie salad.
Yeah.
And that's even more shocking when we get to some of these other alternatives later on. Carbs, 80 grams of carbs. So
I think it has tortilla strips and beans and stuff in it.
Yeah. And then the dressing would have some as well. Protein, 46 grams from the chicken. And then, of course, the dessert is going to be ample because they always are. But the molten gingerbread cake is 1,220 calories, 170 grams of carbs. So it's well above the key lime pie. Key lime pie was 117. Gingerbread cake is 170. And then 13 grams of protein in there. So ample food.
So some of the things that I'm ordering thinking I would be maybe making the better choice. The lettuce wraps are more calories than the dynamite roll.
Yeah.
The dessert that I got was more calories than the key lime pie.
Yeah. Way more sugar.
Way more sugar.
Yeah. I know. The reason mine is so absurdly high is because that ribs is just monstrous. Like, it's amazing how much food that is.
Yeah. But then people will report like, I think I eat pretty well. I think I eat pretty healthy because I looked at the menu and ordered the lettuce wraps and got a salad and be like, I just ate a salad. I had one little dessert. Can't blow my whole diet for the whole week. You're like, yes, it can.
I remember the restaurant I worked at, we had this big ass salad that came in a fried tortilla shell, and it was like this massive salad, and people would eat it thinking it was the healthy option on, because salad is healthy. That's what people think. And it had like 1,500 calories in it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was just this monstrous salad.
Probably one of the worst things you can order in a restaurant is a chicken Caesar salad.
Yeah.
And that's a thing I see people being like, I'll just have the Caesar salad. That's all soybean oil. It's just crunchy water and soybean oil. And then some protein from the chicken. And it's probably half the time deep fried chicken. So you're just eating like chicken fingers and soybean oil.
Yeah.
That's not a healthy.
The lettuce does not negate all the other stuff.
The crunchy water.
Yeah.
So not to say that you can't ever enjoy a night out.
Yeah.
I think the idea would be to enjoy a night out, but maybe if there are two things that you enjoy equally, but one is a slightly more healthful choice, and you're like, oh, well, okay, my enjoyment is equal. This one's a little better for me or less worse for me. I would pick that one and I would be perfectly fine. I would enjoy myself just as much for the celebratory dinner or birthday thing or whatever you're out for. So we surveyed a few other things. So I could have crab cakes. I like crab cakes with the sauce and everything. I could have a burger. The Earls burger is great. The bigger, better burger. And maybe I would split the cheesecake with you. And I'd be like, hey, that was a good meal. I had appetizer, big burger, dessert.
Yeah. Definitely filling. That's lots of food.
Yeah. And I would enjoy it.
Yep.
And what would that bring me in at?
Total calories with half the cheesecake, burger, crab cakes, 1,315 calories.
So there you go.
So that's like
less than half
yeah.
of what I ordered and about a third of what you had ordered.
Yeah. Crab cakes is 390. The bigger, better burger is 570. Cheesecake, half of it is 355. So the cheesecake is actually the healthiest dessert on that menu.
It's the lowest calorie one.
Yeah. I guess none of them are
None
healthy, but it's the least damaging.
Least calorically dense of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bigger, better burger. And sometimes people be like, oh, I wouldn't order the burger. That's junk food.
Yeah.
It's only 570 calories.
Yeah.
You know, it's like overall not the worst.
And I think it's carbs. The bun is something like 35 or 40 or something
it's
like
not
that.
Absurd.
It's
yeah.
not a ridiculous amount. You get a good amount of protein from the burger patty. This is just the burger. It doesn't have like cheese or bacon or any of that kind of stuff. That's going to increase it, but you know.
And that's also no sides. So obviously if you get it with fries, that's much worse.
Yeah.
But you can get a side green salad. I think
it was like
190 calories
yeah,
or something.
Yeah, totally fine. Another option that's really good all around. Let's say you start, they have an appetizer that's called ahi tuna tataki.
I love ahi.
Yeah.
And they have good ahi at Earls.
They do. Yeah. Surprising for the middle of the prairies, but it's really good.
Yeah.
You can go with a steak. Steak's always a good option. And then maybe for your side order, you get a side of green beans or broccolini or asparagus or whatever the vegetable is. Calorie-wise, so much better.
Yeah. And this is, so you had an appetizer and dinner, but no dessert.
Yeah.
This is 705 calories.
Yeah.
So now you're really, if you're on some kind of weight loss journey, you're really sticking to it. That's lots of protein. Both of those are very high protein things. You had meat and vegetables and you really kept it dialed in.
Yeah.
The ahi tuna is 180 calories. Nice fresh fish. And then the 9-ounce sirloin is 360. The side of green beans is 165.
Yeah. So that's the big steak. So you're getting like a good amount of protein from that meal. There's lots. And then even if you split that cheesecake with somebody, you add an extra 355, you're still only around 1,050. So not bad at all.
So there's a level of treat yourself. And then there's like a holy shit.
Yeah.
What are you doing kind of thing, you know?
And it's kind of like, okay, so go out, enjoy life, do what you want with your friends. But then try to think, okay, what do I need to do to balance out the week? And if you're going to go full send, like I've done before, you can't make it up in one day. You know, you can't skip breakfast and skip lunch and be like, I'll just, you know, whatever. That's 2 days worth of food. If you're going to still enjoy yourself and do it a little bit better, then you can get away with just maybe you fast for the day, or maybe the next day you fast until lunch or whatever. You know, it's so much easier to manage if you don't overdo it.
It's funny how people will view fasting as like, oh, that's like an eating disorder. That's restrictive behavior and that's messed up.
Yeah.
And yet you can go out to Earls and eat 5,000 calories in one meal and people are like, haha, treat yourself. You know, that's not fucked up.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfectly normal thing to feast and famine, right? That's a natural thing that humans would have experienced all throughout our evolutionary history. That if you eat 2 days worth of food in one day, it's perfectly normal to not be very hungry for the next day or two and eat a much lower amount of calories. It's not like a binge restrict kind of behavior, but in a well-functioning metabolism, it would be perfectly normal to eat a lot of food and then the next day be kind of like, ugh, I'm just like not that hungry.
I think we've all had big Thanksgiving meals and stuff where you eat and you're just like, oh my God, I'm so full. And then the next day you're just like, I can't do it. I don't even want to right now.
And that's how people that maintain their weight at a healthy set point for the entirety of their lives, people that just kind of always weigh right around the same.
Yeah.
That's how they're naturally doing things, is even when they have very large amounts of food, it just their appetite self-regulates. The next few days, it just kind of lower and overall averages out.
Yeah. I like to watch the competitive eater guys on YouTube and it's hilarious because it'll be these skinny dudes with these gigantic capacities for food volume in their bellies. And the one guy I watch, he'll go and he'll eat 10 or 15,000 calories worth of food in one sitting as some competition. But then he'll eat nothing but some berries for 2 or 3 days afterwards, you know, because he doesn't feel like eating. He's just gorged himself.
Assuming he's not barfing after, that food would take several days to probably make its way all the way through. Your digestive tract would slow down to deal with all that. So you would still be digesting that for a long time.
Yeah. Obviously that's not an ideal situation, but it's not like they do that every day. They do it. And then the rest of the week they eat very little and they take care of themselves and they work out and they do all kinds of stuff.
So, I mean, obviously there are people that can have, you know, those kinds of meals and overall it all averages out and they maintain their weight at a healthy set point for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But then there are also people that, that's not a once every 3 months kind of meal. That's a once a week meal. And then it's also a went out for lunch with my coworkers. And it's also a had brunch on Sunday morning with my friends. And all of a sudden there's multiples of these incredibly calorically dense meals happening throughout the week. And there's a Saturday night bender at the pub with my buddies. And all of a sudden back to the Secret Eater show, the people that are self-reporting that they're eating 1,300 calories a day. The worst one I saw, the guy in the time that he was being recorded ate 8,000 calories a day and was just baffled at why he was overweight. Just like, I don't know. I just can't figure this out. I think my problem is I'm not eating enough.
Yeah.
That has never once been the case. Never once have they been like, turns out you're not eating enough.
Yeah.
But there's sort of I have known some nutrition professionals that will feed into those lies, those self-deceptions, and they'll go along with people in this sort of, you know, mental gymnastics that they build up for themselves. And they will literally say behind their client's back, I know that that's not what they're eating.
Yeah.
But if I am honest with them, they'll get defensive against me. So I go along with it and I say, yeah, I think your problem is you're not eating enough.
Yeah.
And then I try to trick them into eating, you know, protein and vegetables and stuff. And all of a sudden they feel like they're eating a lot of volume of food. But is that what you want? Is that what you want from a nutrition professional? You want someone that's just going to lie to your face? I don't think that's a good professional relationship. I don't think that's the way adult humans should be treated, I think.
Yeah. I don't think you can continue to play the games. You have to either just come to terms with the fact that you're being deceptive with yourself sometimes, you know, you're deceiving yourself and it's not working out. And we just need to be honest. You know, it's like trying to work with a drug user who refuses to admit that they're actually using drugs when it's like, they're clearly using drugs. And if you're addicted to drugs and you want to get off the drugs, the first step is to admit that you're using drugs.
Yeah. There has to be an acknowledgement of reality for sure.
It's funny because like I have a fairly healthy metabolism. My weight stays pretty much the same all the time. I can go out for a meal and have that like massive amount of ribs and stuff. And even though it's 2 days worth of food, it's not like I gain a pound the next day or anything. I get bloated probably and feel gross for a day or two, but then after a day or two, I equalize and everything's fine. But if I was to do that, every week or multiple times a week, then yeah, for sure it's going to catch up with me. But I think the healthier metabolism is, the easier time you have to deal with those sorts of things once in a while. But it has to be a once in a while kind of thing, or it will catch up with you eventually.
And I think it's really important to cook your own food at home and be aware of what's going into it, because almost any time you're eating things prepared outside the home, restaurant foods, takeout foods, even semi-prepared foods at the grocery store, people are shocked at the caloric content and the ingredients of what's involved there.
Yeah.
And then, so prepare most of your own food. We did meals only May, with the point there being like, you really got to stop the mindless snacking nonsense between meals, the grazing behavior.
Yeah.
If you have a drawer of snacks at your office, you need to get rid of it. If you put your hand in the candy bowl every time you walk past the receptionist desks, you need to stop that. If you snack and eat bits of things while you're cooking, you need to just pop a piece of gum in your mouth and not do that. Like, just feed yourself proper meals, make them delicious, enjoy food. I'm definitely a proponent of food is amazing. It's a thing that brings us together. But I don't think those mindless snacking behaviors are part of that. People aren't even enjoying it. It's not a social thing. Like, that's not what food is for, right? Sure. So if you can take out all that stuff that isn't adding to your quality of life and just focus on the really good stuff that fuels your body and your brain, makes you feel good, focus on the, making a delicious meal and bringing people together and the social aspect of it, then of course those things are wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful additions to your life.
And we'll make ribs at home, right? And we'll cook 2 racks of ribs, and the 4 of us will split those. And I don't eat a whole rack to myself. I also make it with a lower sugar rub and then a lower sugar barbecue sauce that I make. And it ends up being like, probably in the whole 2 racks, there's maybe 40 grams of carbs instead of that 1 rack of ribs having 60 or whatever.
Yeah.
So if I do it myself, I'm just going to eat what I want. I'm not going to eat a whole rack because it's been put in front of me. And then I'm also not starting with sushi rolls and everything and all the other stuff. I'm not going to have dessert afterwards. So yeah, just because ribs happen to be a fairly calorically dense food, if you do it yourself, you're going to eat way less probably. You can make it healthier, and then you're not going to add on all the extra stuff as well.
And can we also talk about, as a bonus, that the bill is way lower? Yeah. You can get people are struggling with budgets and inflation is crazy and the grocery bills are high. If you cook at home, you save yourself 75% of the cost, right?
If you go to Costco, you get 2 racks of ribs for $25 or $30. You go to Earls and it's 1 rack of ribs and it's $60 or something like that.
Yeah.
Plus all the extra stuff.
Yeah. So then, like, on this theme, we got looking up all kinds of things because we're like, holy shit, people are completely unaware of how many calories they're taking in from some of these places. We're like, let's look at Tim Hortons.
Yeah. We had a hilarious Saturday night together looking up nutrition facts at Tim Hortons.
We're such dorks. Okay, so here's 2 comparable orders.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a guess at which one you think has more calories. So standard, double. I'm going to go through the drive-through in the morning. I'm going to get a large double and a Boston cream donut.
Super huge. Everybody does the double. That's
double and a donut.
Yeah, double and a donut.
I'm going to get a Vanilla Iced Capp, also large, and a Raisin Bran Muffin. And which one of these 2 orders do you think is higher in calories and higher in sugar?
We need a vote now. But
yeah, vote now. Do you think double and a donut to start your day, or a Vanilla Iced Capp and a Raisin Bran Muffin? Because I'm not going to get a donut. That would be bad for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the Raisin Bran Muffin because I've heard the word bran means fiber or some shit.
Automatic health.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what's shocking. Total calories for the double and the Boston cream, 490 calories for your little breakfast. Total calories for the Vanilla Iced Capp and the Raisin Bran Muffin, 1,040 calories.
Ooh, more than double.
More than double. This is absurd. You realize that donuts are actually a health food.
By the end of this night, when we were looking this up, we're like, okay, well, basically what I've learned from this is donuts are a health food. That is not the takeaway from this.
That is not true. But here's the thing. So a double, which so many people get is, and if they do it correctly, right? 250 calories, 27 grams of sugar, which is a lot.
That's still a lot.
Which is a lot to drink, right? Yeah. If you're not getting any satiation from that, you're just drinking 27 grams of sugar. But a Vanilla Iced Capp, which you would think would be similar, is 660 calories, 95 grams of sugar.
95 grams of sugar.
That's crazy. How many sugar cubes is that?
Almost 24. 25. Yeah.
It's like the donut where it's pulsating. It's got so much sugar in it. It's pulsating. It's just, how do they do that? How do you cram that many sugar cubes into a cup?
Imagine if you took like that size, a large size cup of coffee, and you watched me add 25 sugar cubes to it, you would be like,
what is wrong
Jocelyn, are you okay? What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, but I'm like, oh, Vanilla Iced Capp. I'm going to treat myself.
It's wild.
And so 95 grams of sugar is like drinking 2 cans of Coke.
Yeah. That's crazy.
A can of Coke is like 44.
And there's people that'll go out and have one in the morning and then one later on in the like afternoon.
And be like, not sure why I'm getting diabetes. No idea. Yeah.
Okay, so do we do Boston cream donut, which is one of my favorites. Boston cream donut, 240 calories, 16 grams of sugar, which isn't that much. That's not crazy for a donut. Like that's pretty good. Raisin Bran Muffin, 380 calories, 30 grams. So double. Like that's what? That's supposed to be the healthy option, but it's double what the donut is.
Yeah. And to be clear, nowhere does Tim Hortons say or even try to say that a Raisin Bran Muffin is a healthier option. No. That's only something that like the idiot consumer has in their head that somehow Raisin Bran equals healthier, which is not at all the case. It's 140 calories more and it's double the sugar, 30 grams of sugar in the Raisin Bran Muffin versus just eating a Boston cream donut.
Yeah. So there's like sugar to calories ratio. There's less fat in the Raisin Bran Muffin than there is in the Boston cream donut. So it's not like you could just have 2 Boston cream donuts and it would be the same as having a Raisin Bran Muffin, but there's double the sugar, double the carbs in the Raisin Bran Muffin.
Yeah.
And neither one of those is going to fill you up. You know, if I just ate a Raisin Bran Muffin, I would be hungry again within an hour, you know,
because your blood sugar would have just spiked and then crashed back down. But those are the things where people are like, yeah, I think I eat pretty healthy. Like I make pretty healthy choices. I don't get donuts. I got a Raisin Bran Muffin, and they just have never bothered to look or check. And that's part of contributing to that's just pure ignorance. If you just don't know that and you just think that I order the salad and I get the Raisin Bran Muffin and I'm not sure why I'm 100 pounds overweight. That's how there's no mystery.
Yeah. If you're in a bind and you go to Tim Hortons and that's your only option, then you can make it better. You skip the double, just get a coffee with a little bit of cream in it. Don't sweeten your coffee. Get yourself off of sweetened beverages. If you can do that, it's amazing the difference it'll make.
No liquid sugar.
No liquid sugar.
A life rule.
Yeah. So coffee with a little bit of cream. And then get a breakfast sandwich because there's some breakfast sandwiches. I think the egg and cheese one, it's only like 250 calories. 270. And then you're actually getting some protein as well. It's only 14 grams. It's not a ton of protein. But if you got 2 of those and took out the egg and cheese from the one and put it into the other and just ate one of those buns, like way better. Now you're getting like 30 something grams of protein probably. And, you know.
Yeah, that can be not the worst. Egg and cheese English muffin sandwich, 270 calories. It's only 27 grams of carbohydrate. It's only 3 grams of sugar, probably from the bread, 14 grams of protein. And I have done this in an airport or whatever in a pinch. Get 2, throw away the bun from one of them. So you take the egg and cheese out, make it a double the protein. There's almost no sugar and it's not deep fried. So you're not in the seed oil hell of donuts, and the Raisin Bran muffins almost certainly would be made with oil.
Yeah. So is this, the Raisin Bran Muffin, is that 30 grams of sugar?
Sugar. That's not even carbohydrate. Do you want to know the carbs?
Yeah, what's the carbs in the Raisin Bran one?
Yeah, because it's going to be even higher. Muffins, Raisin Bran Muffins, 60 grams of carbs.
There you go, 60 grams, 30 of which is sugar. And then the Boston cream is 16 grams of sugar.
Yep.
That's wild.
And 38 grams of carbohydrate, like from the dough.
Yeah. So there you go. It's so hilarious to like hop on to pick any restaurant and just look on the nutrition facts and just like go on a wild ride of like, how do they do it? How do you fit so many calories? How much sugar? It's amazing.
And then things like, a Timbit, a birthday cake Timbit.
1 bite. This is 1 bite.
You can eat a Timbit in 1 bite, right?
Yeah.
9 grams of sugar. That's like eating more than 2 sugar cubes.
Yeah.
In one bite.
And nobody eats 1 Timbit.
Yeah, no.
You get them in like, 12s or something? I've never really ordered Timbits, so I don't know what they come in, but.
No, I'm not a big Timbit fan.
Me neither.
Highest calorie Timbit, sour cream glazed, 90 calories per bite.
Yeah.
Chocolate toasted coconut Timbit, also 90 calories.
The densest, the biggest donut is the apple fritter because they're pretty they're big. They don't have a hole in the middle, so, more real estate.
Yeah, 330 calories for an apple fritter.
Still less than a Raisin Bran Muffin.
Yeah, chocolate cruller donut, 360.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Chocolate toasted coconut, also 360. Yeah. trying to see what's the maple dip donut, $2.20.
That's not bad.
The lower. See, donuts are a health food.
What's the plain one? Isn't the plain one pretty low as well? I mean, I don't know how many people get a plain donut. That's pretty boring.
What's even the point?
Yeah.
Fashion plain donut, $2.80.
Oh, that is.
You're actually better with the maple dip.
Well, then why would you bother with who? Why even bother with a plain donut?
Powdered Venetian cream donut, $2.20.
There you go. See, donuts are health food. Just kidding, they're not.
Let's find the highest sugar one. What is the most amount of sugar you can cram in one donut? It appears to be 28 grams, and it's a tie for first place in the maple cruller and the chocolate cruller donut. Damn, those crullers.
Crullers are good.
They're getting you.
Yeah, and they're still less than a Raisin Bran Muffin.
360 calories. And less, 28 grams, less than the 30 you find in the classic Raisin Bran Muffin.
And some of the other muffins were even worse than the Raisin Bran, weren't they?
Chocolate chip muffin is 420. That's basically just a piece of cake.
Yeah.
But so is the Raisin Bran Muffin, a piece of cake, frankly. 380. Wild blueberry is the same, 380 calories. Lemon poppy seed muffin, 370. And these are all 29, 30 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
So yeah, the muffin, I remember falling for that. So when I was doing an internship during my undergrad and working at this office building, and I would go at like 10:30 and go down to the little coffee stand and like get a muffin. And then over the course of the 4 months I worked there, I was like, I'm getting fat. Like what is happening here? And then you realize I'm eating a piece of cake every morning at 10:30.
Yeah. Muffins are basically cupcakes without the icing, but they're often bigger than
and
cupcakes.
They're big. Yeah. Those like Costco.
Oh man, those
chocolate
things,
muffins, those things are ridiculous.
And they're dense and they're huge. That is not a health food whatsoever. That is a dessert.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely some interesting things to be learned in the exercise of face the reality, be honest with yourself in what exactly are you eating and ordering, and how many calories and carbs and sugar and how much protein are you legitimately getting. And
it's a super interesting experiment. And like I said, any restaurant like Subway, a lot of people consider Subway to be healthy. And then they order a loaf of bread with a little bit of meat in there and they think they're having a healthy meal, but it's 100+ grams of, carb and sugar.
The thing that always makes me laugh about Subway bread, it's so high in sugar that in France, they're actually not allowed to call it bread because it's actually closer to a cake. So in Europe and France and Italy and stuff, they have very high standards for food quality and for what you can call certain things. So they are way less tolerant of these imitation food-like products. They have no time for that shit.
Right.
They take their bread very seriously, their cheese very seriously. Even in Italy, certain types of pizza have to be like authentic to the way they're supposed to be made. And so bread in France has a specific definition and it can't contain such a high percentage of sugar like Subway bread does.
Yeah.
Subway meat cake container. I think I looked this up for the kids camp last year. The honey oat footlong is like 85 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'd have to double check that, but
it's funny that they have all those rules about food, which is great. I support that. But then they all smoke.
And yet they have less heart disease than Americans.
There you go.
So perhaps they're onto something. I don't know. Smoke and eat butter.
And only certain types of bread, and then you're okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, fun stuff. That's what we do on our Saturday nights. We sit at home and laugh about how ridiculous food is.
Yeah. Okay, so if you look something up and find it, please share it with me. I love the shocking things you find when you go out or go places.
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right. See you in the next one.
See you guys.